Go ahead, Allie.
I mean, that's why they say 35 in rural America is not 35 in a city. Those are totally different 35s and lifestyles, right? But no, I do agree with the overall sentiment. I've always firmly believed that it feels like, as a millennial woman, that you have to choose between your career and being a mother. I don't know. I just have always felt that way because anyone who does want to try to like climb the corporate ladder, they're gonna have to take time off and then they're gonna suffer and then they're not gonna get the promotion and da 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 da. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. Just the fact that I do feel like you have to choose which one you want to go with. So, and going back to everybody's, yeah, it depends on what your household was like. If your parents care for you to have kids early, all of that stuff. So, yeah.
Ali, I want to add to what you just finished saying, because I think there's something in there that might have went by people's heads. Ladies, I look. I'm gonna be honest, ladies. I feel that you can have it all. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
You could have it all in phases. You just can't have it
Yeah.
all at once. It's like that bag of candy at Halloween, and your parents take it away. It's because if they leave it to your own devices, you'll eat it all
Mhm.
at once and and suffer. So you can have it all. You just can't have it all at once. And best way to have it all and have it all in phases, so you get the best success out of it, is you have to have these early conversations from a young child about life and about responsibilities and about the things that you foresee in yourself. About relationships, about communications. Learn these early skills and these like adult like conversations early, so they set you up better. Don't be trying to figure this out on the college campus from some girl that lives, 3 states over, who grew up in a foster care home system. No shade to that. But I'm just saying, like, these conversations need to happen at an early age, right?
These conversations will come from the parents, though.
Exactly.
Right. So
And
that wouldn't really be something that we could control if your parents' focus was on one thing. Like Kelly was stating, they're only doing what they know to do. So a lot of parents, for one, are not going to have a lot of those adult conversations with their kids, as far as like, even if you do try to have that conversation of what you want to do when you get older, how you should live your life, things in that nature. Kids change all the time. Your mind is going to change. And you also don't want to control and try to dictate what your child is going to do. So all you do as a parent is try to implement little by little the fundamentals, morals, and ethics and things you think are important to your child, and you hope that they blossom from there. So those conversations are beautiful and all, and that's what you can have with your children. But for the people who are already grown and already done it, those conversations didn't happen like that, and you had to learn along the way as you got older. I was going to say, picking back off of what Allie was stating, I think that goes back to the conversation of why women and men make different incomes and why men can make more, because women do have children. So we have to actually take off of work, right? We tend to
Mhm.
want to focus on our kids and raising our families,
That
which
big
puts us
campaign is getting pushed to the person who's going to
it,
work on it,
who's
and
going to
they're going to
work.
get the
And
yep, they
if
get the
we're being honest,
recognition.
men work more than women, period. They're just going to always work more than us, because once you have that child, things change for you. And if you work in corporate America, it's a different hustle. The women that are at the top don't have kids. If they're married, they hardly see their husbands, or they
Mhm.
get married later.
Or if
Like,
they do
that's
have
not their
kids,
focus
they made it to executive leadership before the age of
before
40.
they,
They got the
yep,
money to help. Yeah. Yep.
have the kids later. Yeah. It's just it's not something that's as attainable. So I totally agree
It's
with
different.
you, Allie. You have to choose as a woman. What do you want to do?
I think that that's true to a certain extent, only because I married my high school sweetheart, y'all. We were together for 17 years, and I had the white picket fence, like everything, right? But when I was married and a wife, I did not work. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
was just me, the kid, da 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 da. Once
Mm-hmm.
I got divorced, I'm like, yay! I get to do corporate America. I get to actually use these degrees, and it's freaking hard.
It's extremely hard. It's
It and because you kind of do have to take a step back when you have a child. Like I do remote work. I would make a lot more money if I was working for a company and I actually went in the office, right? Being my title, but because I'm like, oh, I'd rather do this working from home because it's a whole different ball game, especially when you've been working corporate for as long as a lot of us. You know, we've played the game, we've dealt with male chauvinistic men. You know, it's not easy to do both. But I kind of had that's what you were saying is I had it in the beginning, like, oh, so I was a wife and did that. And now it's like corporate America, you know, it's hard. I would not say that it isn't hard. You know, it's great to have family because it takes a village. But I was raised on love and I'm a Southern girl. So yeah, I did all of that white picket fence the way it's supposed to go. So now being in corporate America is it's a different ballgame. Like my mom didn't have to work either. But I feel like I would teach my daughter to be independent because you never know what would happen. I feel like I would probably be not even like my mom. You know what I mean? Because it's hard. You can do everything right and it still go wrong. And so for me, it is survival at this point. And so I want my daughter to have the key, the keys she needs to survive. I feel like she's going to naturally know how to be domestic because I'm domestic. But the keys to survival have to be there. And men have to understand that and they can't be intimidated by the independence.
I also think it's the way that you deliver that information. Because for me and my daughter, I always tell her to make sure she's doing something and she is getting in her career field so she can date people with the same mind frame as hers, the same people with the same interests as her. I know that she don't like a lot of stuff that goes on in the environment I'm currently living in. So I always tell her, you don't like the people here, you feel like they're mean, you feel like they're bullies, you feel like you don't like the music, she feel like it's too vulgar. She notices these things at 11. So I encourage her all the time, okay, you might want to be in more of like a college like setting. So you have to focus on school. And then another thing down here, a lot of my friends who did get married at like 17, 18, they got married to older men because they were able to take care of them. But a lot of like, I don't honestly don't know any of the women who got married to the older men at that young age. I don't know if any of them are still together. And when you looking at their situation, they kind of struggling because they didn't figure out how to survive for themselves and really make money. They was really just dependent on his income. So yeah, because the world is more modern, my thing would be to just tell her like, yeah, I still want you to be independent, but just make sure you're in environments where you're attracting people who are like you.
I have a question for Lewis. You mentioned, because I missed some of this, I had a bad connection, but you said women can have it all. What do you define as all?